microbiology at Imperial College in London, but he's currently in sabbatical to the University of Padua in Italy. And he was across a virus-controlled experiment they did in a town near Venice at the very start of the outbreak of the coronavirus in Italy.
Well, this is something that happened accidentally, because Bo is the place where the first case of coronavirus was diagnosed in Italy already 5 weeks ago. And the local authority at that point were so afraid that they decided to lock down the entire village and screen everybody there. And this generated an incredible epidemiological setting, because we could test everybody and interview the people, and we were able to see that at that point 3% of the population was infected, and a significant fraction of those infected people were not didn't show any symptoms. So then we asked the local authority if we could do a second survey there and to understand how the quarantine of the positive individual had worked. And so what we found out is that on the second survey, the percentage of infected people had dropped from 3% to 0.41%. So we have a drop of 90% in the frequency of infected people, because meanwhile, our infected people have been put in quarantine at home. And interesting, again, the people that become infected between this period, again, were all asymptomatic. And even more interesting, now we have data that shows that asymptomatic people can transmit the disease to other individuals. So I think this unique study setting tells us a lot of things about the virus, how it's transmitted. It tells us the importance of the individuals which are asymptomatic, which I believe are the more dangerous one, because they go unnoticed and they can transmit the disease to other people. Now, of course, you cannot extend this kind of wide testing to an entire population, but you can do something that is more focused. And this is what we are doing now in Veneto. So, for example, in Veneto, what we are doing, if somebody calls the local authorities and tell that he believes they have symptoms of coronavirus, rather than tell him stay at home and wait, we tell him stay at home, and we send a unit of the Red Cross to take the swab. Then we take the swab to all the relatives, the family, eventually friends, if we're able to zoom on there, and then the entire neighborhood. So in this way, we are able to somehow assess the community around the cases, and eventually identify the people that are asymptomatic and tell them to stay at home. Then we go there again after 9-10 days and check if there are still cases of infection around. And actually, this policy is paying, because the province of Padua has grown very, very slowly, and today is the province that has shown the smallest increase in case over the day before. Okay. So I think this is a strategy that is also paying on large scale.
Okay, Professor, that is such a successful experiment for all of you. Are there any lessons we can learn from this experiment? I know you said it's very difficult for entire countries, but that we perhaps could learn for us here in Ireland trying to fight this virus.
Well, I think the lesson that everybody can learn from this study is that there is a large fraction of individuals that do not show any sign and that can transmit the disease. It is of the greatest importance to identify these people and to isolate these people. But the good news is that these people usually are around people that eventually develop disease. So you have to use the people that develop disease as a sentinel to spot all the to investigate an area. So let's say if you have a cluster, the things to do is lock down that area, quarantine that area for a few days, go there, make the swab to all friends, family, and neighborhood, and then do it again after 9-10 days. If you do it this way, you are able to spot these individuals and then block the infection before it spreads as we are seeing in Lombardy. I think in Lombardy, the only thing that can be done now is not even a lockdown, but a total standstill.
What is a total standstill, Professor?
A total standstill saying that everybody stays at home for 2 weeks and nobody goes out.
And do you think that's something that a country like Ireland might need to look at sometime if we want to try and defeat this virus?
Well, if it runs out of control, like in Lombardy, this is something that you need to consider.
Okay, Professor, I really appreciate you taking the time to